When Jesus said, "It is finished," the power of sin and Satan was finished forever. The trade was complete. Remember how Pontius Pilate set Barabbas free in exchange for Jesus? The same thing happened for you and me. We were on trial in the highest court of the Lord of heaven's armies. And we'd been convicted, and we're sitting in this dark, dank jail cell awaiting our sentence. And here comes Jesus, and he offers himself as a trade. And we are set free. So do you believe it? I mean, do you believe Jesus really finished all that stuff? Well, if you believe, then why is it then so often we live our lives like none of that stuff ever happened? Or is that just me? I mean, if we believed and truly internalized in our soul what Jesus' words, "It is finished," meant for our life, don't you think we'd spend a lot less time worrying? Seems like we'd spend a lot less time beating ourselves up for never being good enough, don't you think? We'd be a lot more loving, a lot kinder and forgiving. We'd be more joyful and generous. It seems like if we truly internalize the fact that we've been saved from sin forever, it seems like our testimony as Christians would be a whole lot more attractive to the world than, unfortunately, it is to some. So why is it that so often we act like Jesus never finished any of that stuff? Is it because it's maybe not close enough to our current reality? I mean, is it a question of proximity? I mean, I'm guessing no one here has ever served time on death row and then been acquitted of your crime. That's a hard one for us to wrap our head around because it's just too far a frame of reference to relate to. Our proximity to what this experience of being actually released from death row might actually feel like is just too distant for us to grasp. But let me try these on for size with you. Has anyone here ever been in a horrific car accident, but you survived? You remember what it felt like when you realized you shouldn't have made it, but you had been spared? Has anyone here ever been trapped in a physically abusive relationship and you feared for your life, but one day you were freed from it? You remember what it felt like the first time you didn't have to be afraid anymore? Or maybe you've been diagnosed with a terminal disease or some chronic physical malady, but now you're healed. You remember what it felt like the first day you realized you weren't in pain anymore? But you don't need to have had a near-death experience to understand what it's like to be rescued, do you? I'm sure every one of you here can recount a time in your life that you were so fearful and so stressed, maybe even panicked, that you couldn't see your way out the other end of this situation. Even though that situation might have happened years ago, as you think about that right now, I'll bet your heart is beating just a few beats faster, isn't it? But see, the commonality of these examples I've given is that we weren't in control of the outcome, were we? It was beyond our capability to fix. Some higher power had to step in for us, or we'd be sunk. Remember how it felt, though, after you finally gotten through that terrible crisis and you'd been rescued? Who did you tell? What did you act like? What did you do? Did you talk about it a week later? A year later? How often do you remember being rescued today? When Jesus said, "It is finished," you were rescued for all eternity. What are you going to do with that?